everybody. My name is Llewellyn Crosstev, and I am the owner and artist at Worn to Whimsy. And I am going live on the Redesign with Prima page. I'm a brand ambassador for Redesign with Prima. So today I'm going to go live and I'm going to be applying the Violet Hill transfer. I'm just going to wait a second and see if, oh, I see people on there. Okay, we're all set then. I'm going to be applying the Violet Hill transfer to this really bright, fun dresser that I did behind me. I chose this one. The dresser is for my daughter, so I chose this one because it was fun and I think it can be used multiple ways. I know you guys have seen this transfer a couple times already, but it's one of the new ones, so I think everybody just wants to use it. I'm going to pull you in a little closer here. Hi guys, go ahead and say hi, comment please, so that I can make sure everything's connected and it's all working and make sure I can see your comments. I see about 6 people watching. All right, good. So today, yes, I started this dresser the other day, and I've added a little tiny piece of the transfer already, but we're going to be putting the rest of it on, and then if I have time, maybe moving on to some other stuff. So I love this transfer. It's gorgeous. I've been waiting to use it and trying to find the right piece. So it all just happened to come together for this one. My daughter is, she just turned 11 and we're redoing her room. So, hey, Hannah, I can't see any comments yet. So can you make sure, Nick?
Yeah, I can,
okay.
I can take a look.
Hi, guys. Good to see you on here today. Okay, so go ahead and comment. If you have any questions, let me know. I can come back and answer them. I'll have my husband bring down his phone if it's not working. Sometimes Facebook does not cooperate. So I'm going to bring it in a little closer. I started with the center because I just kind of like to work from the center outward when I'm cutting up the transfers. And I applied the middle piece. This transfer comes in 6 sheets, so it is a really large transfer. I'm going to be working on the other side right here, and I just measured. All I did was I took a measuring tape, measured the drawer, and did tiny little marks in the middle. Because it's a 6-piece transfer, the measuring will help to get it nice and even in the middle. And then all I have to do is line up the edges. Another thing I did to prep is I cut off, oh hello, hi Linda, oh good, I can see you guys. All right, I'm all set then. I cut off these edges that come on the transfer. So there's like little edging pieces, usually along here about this thick. So I cut everything off so that when I overlap, or I don't get that like little white halo when I overlap. Hi Shaz, good to see you. Hi Connie. Thank you guys for watching today. Okay, so I'm just gonna jump right in and get started. What I did, yes, I can see the comments. Thanks, honey. What I did was I stuck it on here, and then I used my little tiny knife and went along the edges and just cut them off. And my knife's under here somewhere. I might be sitting on it. And I just use a little X-Acto knife like this. So I already cut off the little edges and I saved them because it was just bigger than the drawer. So for the edge, I make sure I don't lay them upside down just on the top of the dresser. And I can go back in once I pull the drawers out a bit, and I can stick them on there so that it all connects perfectly. But for now, I'm going to start doing this side. So let's move you over a little bit. This dresser was so fun. I haven't done like a fun, funky, bright colored one in a while, so I like to just be able to let go sometimes, you know, and have fun with it. Now let me find, every transfer comes with this little applicator, and this is what I usually use. Makes it simple and easy. And you just peel off the backing very carefully. And this is one of the new ones that they just released. And I think it's gonna be a favorite of mine for sure. I also think it's a versatile flower one because of all the colors in it. Like you could make it look, you could put it on a really clean, classic looking piece, or you can have it go with something bright and funky, like the dresser I did for my daughter. Okay, so I'm going to get it lined up and centered. And that for me is going to be the most important part right now, is just making sure the middle lines up. There we go. And butt it right up against that line. If you do have a piece where you can see the line too much, you can always go in with like some paint and touch it up. I've never had a problem too much going in. And as I come over to here, I have these big handles on this piece that I think they do come off, but I wanted them to be part of the piece. I didn't want to make them too separate, so because they're so big. So I wanted them to be like included in the paint job and everything. So what I'm going to do is come over. I'm just taking my X-Acto knife and cutting up to the corner of this big wooden knob. So then I can have part of the transfer go up under it if I can, and then part of the transfer come down over it. There we go. And I'm going to start there because that's going to be my hardest part to get on nice and flat. It was hard on the other side too, so. Anything that has like a curve or a lump to it is going to be the part that gives you the most issues, like the edges of the drawers and stuff. And I'm also going to pull this drawer away a little bit so that this top part up here doesn't stick to the other drawers or the bottom drawer. You can also take them out and do this, but for the purpose of the live, it was easier for me to just leave them in right now. And I'm just going to rub it around here. Where did my scissors go? I'm going to cut off a little bit of this leaf because it's just going to go up under my little knob handle here. Drawer handle. There we go. And should be able to tuck it right up under. There we go. Now it's all nice and flat. So I'll have part of the flowers just to include that handle in there. Okay, I'm just checking comments. Thank you, honey. My husband is watching. Oh, good. I'm glad that you were wanting to see this. I know other people have done it recently. It just happened to be one I'd already prepped for. I know Roz did it recently too. So now I'm just folding it over the lip of the drawer. I hope you guys can see this okay. It looks pretty good on my end. And I'm not going to stick it down yet because I'm just going to cut. I'm just going to kind of distance it that way and see how much I need of the transfer. I don't need it to go all the way in the back because you won't really be able to see that part anyway. And I'm just going to try and do a straight, clean cut so I can fold it over the top of my drawer. And I'm going to save this piece that I'm cutting off right here and lay it off to the side. So because I save these little ones and then I go back in and I put them between the drawers. So either I can pull the drawers out when I do that. Well, I probably will have to for this piece. And then I would, well, first I would push the drawer up there and I would mark maybe like where the ends of the leaves are and the center. And then I'd be able to go and just put them right on my mark and they should line all up nice and easy. So I'm going to put these upside down up here and save them so they don't stick together. Make sure I'm not getting any questions there. Go ahead and ask if you have any questions. Sometimes I miss stuff. When you've done them for a while, you start to just kind of get it done. And then because I've cut my edges off, I'm also going to be really careful when I'm rubbing right along the line here. I don't want to rub any of the other side. I already took the plastic off, so I don't want to rub any of that off. I don't know, my dog is growling at someone outside, so I apologize if the dog barks. I think the garbage guy is here. She decided to stay here and join me for this live, so. How is everybody doing today? My days are all starting to run together. Today is Wednesday. Okay, so you just gotta rub it on there really good. And I'm gonna do the same thing with the bottom as I did for the top to get it all lined up nice and easy. And I want to have a piece of it to put along the strip that goes between the drawers. I can hear my dog. Charm, no barking. Oh, it's got a package coming. Good, I've been waiting for some knobs. Okay, and I'm just gonna run my X-Acto knife right along the bottom here. And easy as that, it comes right off. Now, if you don't have time or a place to put it, then you can go ahead and you can stick it back on the backing that they come on, but I just like to lay them down flat and kind of keep them in order, hopefully, and not on top of each other. Woo! Because I don't want to stick them to anything on me. Okay, here goes the next part. So how I get it around the edge is there is more to this transfer, yes. There's the gold writing. You can see a little bit of it in here. My daughter is 11 and she said no to the gold writing. So we are leaving that off this time. But it also means that I have a bunch of cool gold scripting left, and then also the corners of the transfer. There's like little bouquets in the corners as well. So I have all of that left, and it's more than enough for another piece. So I would definitely be able to use this transfer for multiple pieces. Honestly, it's really big, and it could have been used for probably 3 pieces if I didn't use the whole thing right in the center. Okay, so as I go along, I'm holding it down and rubbing, and it just lifts away on its own. Really easy. And I just hold it down and rub one area at a time, moving really slow, so that I don't get any little lips or tears. Yes, thank you, Ross. Makes it so much easier having someone along there helping me answer questions. Okay, continue rubbing. Sorry guys, I'm being kind of rough on this one. Just want to get it all done. I know they do have some without all that background on them. This one, it wasn't too hard. They usually space it so that you can cut it off if you need to. So this one, it wasn't too hard to get the background apart from all the flowers. And then all I have is a little tiny bit of the gold writing, which is fine with me. Okay, this last little bit. And then I'm going to go over the whole thing one more time. There we go. And just make sure it's on there really well, so that I don't have any little pieces missing. Finish up this handle right here and then just keep moving down. I was so excited that my daughter let me use a transfer on one of her pieces. She's not super girly. She's my little tomboy. But she's growing up. She's getting older. And this was just a little dresser that I had done for her a few years now. It's been, and it's just been white. It was white with a glaze, and she's definitely to the point where she wanted something a little more for her room. I think working on your own pieces is really fun because then I don't have to worry about what the customer thinks, or you know, you get to I like to experiment with my own stuff a lot of times. Okay, and you can see it's on there pretty good. And I just pull it away. If anything lifts along with it or rips, you can go back and rub it down. That it didn't there, but if it does, and I'm gonna go along the bottom here, and there's a tiny lip on the bottom too, and I'm just gonna push it into that lip. It's not even a part that you'd really see, but I just wanted it to go around the bottom. And that lip is so tiny, I'm just gonna use my fingernail to get the transfer under there. Any tool you have really works. And you can see when it sticks down, it just leaves a thin little piece of plastic. Is it easier to start in the middle? I didn't measure. Yeah, I have tiny little marks. I just measured the middle and put some tiny little marks to make sure I knew where it was gonna go. For me, this particular one, it kind of like, I just wanted it centered and then spread out along the dresser. And it comes in 6 sheets, so 3 on this side and 3 on this side. It is an easy way to start in the middle. You don't have to. It kind of depends on how you're placing it on the piece and what you're going for. Like sometimes I'll use half of this style transfer just coming off of one side of the dresser. And if I do that, then I don't start in the middle, I start from one side. So it's kind of just up to you, really. Okay, make sure that's all sticking on there and slowly pull it away. Got a tiny lift right here, so I'm just gonna go back in and rub it on. Oops, it's still okay. I find like the big flat parts are the easiest for me to make sure they're all on, and then it's these little bitty pieces can get harder. And once I have this on here, I'll go back and like basically just buff it out with something soft. You can even, you know, if you've gotten cracking or anything, I think the easiest way to prevent the cracking is just move slow. You know, whenever I get, whenever I'm trying to speed through it, that's when I start to have issues. Just slowly and steadily go along and get it on there. You have to excuse my nail polish today too. My 5-year-old has been keeping busy by giving us all manicures along with paint. Okay. Getting on there pretty well. Make sure this rose is on there. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, guys, go ahead and ask any questions you have. Roz is on here too, usually watching. She's there to answer any questions you might have. She has a bit more knowledge than I do. She's been working with Prima as a brand ambassador for a long time, so. Okay, and then as, I didn't bring a cloth over here, so I'm gonna use my sleeve. You can see a little bit of that halo. You see the little bit of white around the flowers. Now, I find what gets rid of that the best is just gonna be, it's where it's not quite adhered to your paint all the way. So just rubbing that down really, really well with either, you can use a really fine grit sandpaper even if it's like a sponge and get a distressed look. I've done that on a few pieces, or just a washcloth works too. And that will get rid of like that little halo that goes around the edge to protect the transfer. And I also like to rub it just to make sure there's no bubbling under it. When you have bubbling underneath the transfer, that's where you're going to run into problems with lifting. If there's air under there, then any clear coat, anything you put over the top can get under there and cause some issues. And that worked out really well. I like this one. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to see it very well on this piece just because I went really dark with the paint. So I can hear a little crackle when I move right through here. So I know I have some bubbling. So you either like smooth it down towards the edge to make sure that bubble comes out, or if you use a sanding pad, it will like create a tiny little hole and the air can come out and it just sticks right to it. Oh, thank you. I like these colors too. I think they actually went really well with the transfer. It's always exciting when that happens. Okay, so we've got the center on. And you guys can kind of see it. I'll be posting pictures of the finished project soon. I have to finish it because it's my daughter's dresser, so it's not one of those ones that I can just sit on. And we'll just keep moving on. It looks like, I think I'm gonna do some of these little strips that I cut off for the middle. Let's see if I can reach them without taking the drawers out. If not, I will measure really quick. Because I know this one was the top right here. I might just put a little mark anyway. So I can see the line, that's the center of my transfer, and I'm just gonna follow it up and put a tiny mark. You don't have to do it this way, but it does help. Yes, thanks. My husband is answering. I painted this, it was about a day and a half ago, so a little over 24 hours. I think the recommendation for waiting time is probably gonna be, I think they say 48 hours, 2 days. I know my house is really dry, so if I have it inside, I have no issue with waiting 1 day. Is usually, I'd give it at least 1 day. So this piece is gonna go in the center here. And I might just want to pull these drawers out because I don't want to get this off or tilted. So bear with me for a second. I'm going to pull this drawer out so I can do this center and keep moving upwards. Set this down all careful. There we go. Okay, so drawer is out, and you can see where I did my little drippies. I'm going to go back there and touch it up, but I knew that the transfer would be over part of that. And I just want to line it up on the center, and you don't, I've seen people do it without this part. I like to add it in. I just think it makes it look clean and finished, but you don't have to. So I just barely stuck that on, so I'm gonna push the drawer to make sure it looks good. It's all lined up. And then push it on there and do the same thing. If I can find my stick. Where did I put it? I got another one. Oh, I have these things everywhere. Okay. So yeah, sometimes the transfers take a little bit to line up. You know, it depends on the style of dresser that you're using it on. If you've got something flat, it of course makes it easier with the drawers that just butt right up. You know, the, what's it called? Inlaid drawers, I think. I might be using the wrong word. And once you get it on there pretty well, pull it away. And I can see it's I didn't get it on the end. And using my fingernails again because they're there. There we go. And just rub it really well so that it doesn't have any air bubbles, and you're good to go. Oh my goodness, hon. I think the kids grab them and play with them. That's too funny. Yes, they are all over the place. Oh, good, Lori. I'd love to see what you did. I hope you share it with everybody on the group. That's awesome. Hello, how are you doing today? Thank you guys for joining. Okay, and now since I have, oh, maybe I can't do it yet. I have the top drawer out, but I don't really know where the, oh, I know. I'm gonna do the other side, the little top piece. And I know like the first time I used transfers, they make me really nervous. And I think it was just figuring out how to line them all up and put them on nice and straight is one of the hardest parts. Oh, that sounds pretty. Yeah, see, like that's what I love about this transfer. It really is very versatile. Like you could use it with nearly any color just because there's so many colors on it to begin with. There we go. Get it, rub it on there. Yeah, I think this will I'll definitely have to try it on a piece that's a little more adult. Hurricane Gray is a very pretty color. All right. It would be lovely on that as well, for sure. It just happened that we were trying to figure out what to do with Emma's dresser. And, you know, as an 11-year-old, you want to be part of the process. So I try and let her be part of the process. I don't have a video on how I did it. I'm sorry, I did it really quick, just trying to get ready for this live, but I'm sure I could do one. I used a lot of water. I did like a blended, sort of a galaxy look, and then I went over the blend with paint and a spray and made it all drippy, the same colors, just going down the piece and dripping. But yeah, maybe next time I'll have to make a video on. This was a really fun one, so it'd be a fun video to make because you just kind of go with whatever the paint decides to do for a look. Like the drippy look is one of my favorites. I think it was one of my first, not just a basic color, sort of a look that I tried was the drippy look, and that's when I discovered like how much fun I could have with paint, you know? I'm gonna pull this out and just kind of curve this under, give it a really finished look. My transfer was piece that I had left over was slightly larger, but that is fine. It was slightly larger than this little strip, but that's fine because it actually works out that way, because then you won't see the ends of the transfer and the edges. No rough edges on this one. And then once I'm done, I will just seal, usually with like a polyacrylic, or I use a lot of Dixie Bells, so the flat top coat is what works for me really well. And there we go. Oh yeah, I do have a little picture. I don't know if I have a full picture, but I can post a full picture. Of the piece before. I can also kind of bring around and Well, I guess you can see it at the beginning of the live. I was gonna say I could show you the sides, but you guys all saw it. If you go back, if you're just coming on, I'm using the Violet Hill transfer today. It's this really gorgeous flower bouquet one, and we're just slowly working our way through it. So I'm gonna kind of move back over here again, and I think at this point I'm gonna work my way up because now I have my little line centered going up. So I'm gonna put that drawer back in. Here we are. And that kind of gives you an idea of what I have going on under the transfer too. And I think, Roz, did they change their transfers? We changed our transfers a little bit, right? They changed, they stick really, really well, and they're easier to adhere, I think. And they're not thicker, but they hold together well. So they're not ripping as easily. Okay, so we're gonna keep moving on up right here. And I did leave this edge on, I missed one. So I'm gonna go through. Okay, yes, I thought so. Thank you, Shaz. Thank you, Judy. It's looking really good. I can't take much of the credit for all this though. It's the transfer, I'm really excited. She's gonna love it. It's for my 11-year-old. I think I've said that about 5 times, but. My youngest 5-year-old claimed another dresser, and then of course the other kid wants one. So I actually let her go through and pick her style, pick the paint colors. I painted it a few times. She didn't like it the first time, so we went back over it with the drippy. She wanted just a more fun kid look. So it was fun to have her involved, though. It's really nice to get the kids involved, even if they're picky. Okay, so I'm just gonna line this up, and because there's already a gap between the drawers, I made a tiny mark right here, so I know where my center is, and other than that, I'm just worried about it being even, not too worried about anything else. So to remove the transfer from the backing, just pull the backing right off. It should come off pretty easily. I haven't had any issues with them sticking, so. And it doesn't have any edge anymore, so I'm going to be careful where I hold it. And do the exact same thing I did on the other side. I'm going to let it hang over the little lip ever so slightly on the bottom. And just make sure my placement is correct. And then I have these big handles on this piece that I just decided to keep. They've been on there, they've been painted for a while, and I'm gonna make them part of the transfer. So now I'm gonna go in and do the same thing I did on the other side. And I'm gonna cut out a space for my handle. And you can do this with anything that has like a molding on it. And I'm going to try and be really careful so the transfer doesn't stick to me. And I'm just trying to hold it away from the knob, but cut it. There we go. And I just use an X-Acto knife. They are my best friend when I'm applying the transfers. And you can see it just went right under that handle, how I wanted it to. And then the top, I might break that up a little bit too, where there's no flowers, because my knob is curved. Just so I can get it nice and flat on the front, and then coming somewhat down over it. So it's not going to reach all the way over, just the way this knob is shaped. So I'm just going to cut a little tiny flower piece off really quick and kind of mold it to the shape of the other flower. I don't know if you guys can see that. Okay, now I'm going to get it on the hardest part first, which would be this knob because it's all curvy. And you can hear it kind of popping, and that's because it's coming away ever so slightly from the plastic. I don't see any tearing or any ripping, so. Make this piece come down over the handle and rub this flower right around the edge. And I think, yeah, one of my favorite parts about transfers is like the ease with which you can put a piece of art on the furniture. You know, I also do like painted art on furniture. So for me, transfers are kind of this fun, you know, add something at a relatively low cost and a relatively small amount of time as well. So give it that wow factor too. What do I use to seal it? I use either a polyacrylic, just a water-based flat coat, or you can use a wax. I don't use much wax, to be honest, so I haven't really tried that yet. I use waxes for more of like a decor finish, but I don't use a lot of them to seal things yet, so I'll have to be trying that out soon so that I can give you that info too. But I know a lot of people who do it, and I've seen other pieces done beautifully and sealed with the wax, so there shouldn't be any issue either. And usually they have a list of the recommendations on, Roz, where's the list? If you're still watching, I think it's on the canister that they come in. I think there's the info on the inside. Hi, Minnie. From Louisiana. No, that is actually one state I haven't been to. Okay. I want it to stick really well on this handle, and that's where I'm going to start. And I can see it start to lift. You'll see the plastic kind of bubble up. And I painted this piece early. I finished it yesterday morning at about 6 in the morning. So it has been drying for about a day and a half, nearly. If I have time and I'm not rushing to get things done for a live, then I would usually want to wait about an hour, or 2 days, 48 hours. The instruction sheet, is that what is that what I was referring to? The list of the top coats is, I think, what I was trying to figure out. Okay, and I'm just pulling it away. This part is kind of an awkward place to put it, of course. So it doesn't want to pull away quite as easily, but it's coming. Persistence. I'll get this on there if I gotta paint it on there myself. You don't know what I'm talking about? Okay. Just the list of the recommended products to use with the Prima transfers. Okay, there we go. And I'm just going to slowly move down and keep rubbing it back. Making sure I get it all on there. I don't think I ever even went over the full part of this. So funny that my husband can get on here and answer everybody's stuff. Thank you, Roz. I think he's gonna know just as much as I am about all these things. Pretty soon here, I'll have him doing it. Get him doing it for me. And you really got to put some effort into getting it on there too. The better you can get it on there to begin with, the less issues you'll have later. So that's why I take a while, move slow, and just take my time. Now I'm going to fold this little lip that I left at the bottom under the drawer. And I'm just using my fingernails because the little tiny crease on the drawer is so small. Make sure I get all these little edges so nothing pulls up. And I'm just using the same stick that the box came with, or that came in the little canister. And after this, I have another piece that I just finished that I've got photos waiting for. So I'm going to be getting... Why do some people have peeled off transfers? There could be quite a few reasons for that to happen. If your paint underneath isn't fully dried, that could be one of the biggest issues. And so you need to really make sure that your paint underneath is dry. And then another reason could be if you have a bubble in the transfer and there's air in it, or there are incorrect top coats. Yes, using the wrong thing over the top. So just making sure that your paint is really dry when you apply the transfer. Because sometimes, you know, when you've done like 3 coats of paint to get the look you want, it can take a couple of days. Personally, I've actually never had an issue with them lifting on me once I've applied them, as long as I just make sure that they're on there really well. And I've painted over them with paint to add things onto them. You know, I've done all kinds of things with the transfers. I've done like a wet, like, what's that called? Well, I mean the wet drippy look, but more of a distressed look over the top of one, and it didn't lift away. So I think once you get them on there and what you have underneath them is good, usually, as long as you're going over it with a recommended top coat, you should be. I've never had any issues so far. And I think my first transfer, that piece that I did, was about 2 years ago now. So 1 or 2 years ago. Okay, I'm just slowly peeling back, and as I go along, if I see any sort of lifting, I'll just rub it on there. Yes, the burnishing is a huge, huge deal. I'll be doing that in just a second here. That's a big part of making sure that it's all on there really well. All right, so I'm going to bring you in a little bit closer. Now you can see, before I've burnished it, these little, like tiny white circles around the edges of the transfer. And that's where you want to just rub it and make sure that it gets on there. So can you see how that just disappeared? The light is hitting this perfectly, so you can really see it right now. And there goes that little white like halo edging, and that's why you would want to burnish it. Also, Occasionally, if you haven't rubbed it like perfectly straight on there, you'll see a little tiny bubble or you'll hear a crackle. I don't hear anything and I don't see anything. You can look at it from the side and, you know, kind of see if there's anything raised. You want to make sure that gets on there really, really well. So yeah, just a lot of rubbing to make sure it's on there. And you can see like the little halo, the white halo is just disappearing as I go over it. And yes, I didn't grab a washcloth. I would usually just use a soft cloth and I don't have one over here. So your sleeve works too. And just, this would be considered burnishing as well. You can do it with your fingers if they're nice and dry and clean. And get it on there. Yeah, there we go. That is looking really good. Hi, Melissa. I was just watching you. And I think you said something to me right as the kids started yelling and I had to hop off of your live. Thank you for watching today, guys. Okay, so we have, this would be halfway there. Slowly just taking my time with this one, getting it all on there. And it looks like I've been on for about 45 minutes, going a bit long. But I want to get at least the top half on here to show you guys. For the top 2/3. And just have a little piece that goes on this side. So I think I'm going to do that and then finish up. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for watching. Okay. Continuing on. And what I've done to prep it is, for this particular piece, I cut out the center of the transfer basically, and it's just the big like floral bouquet. And that's the part I wanted to use. So I do have more to this transfer that I will be using on other projects. Definitely one that you can use on multiple things. I'm just making sure that I haven't missed anything and that it's nice and straight on. All right, moving on. This is the easy part because all I have to do is line it up with the other side. Make sure it's even along the bottom and I'm good to go. And I kind of did it a little far away right here, but I can go back in and touch that up really, really easily. So I'm not worried about it. And then just rub it on. I gotta be really careful along this line because I did cut off the edges. Usually they give like that protective edge. It gives you a little bit more leeway. So that I know that I won't nick this flower over here. Let me grab the thing. Violet Hill is the name of this transfer, and it looks like this. And I'm using it on this really funky, fun background because I thought it would, it has so many colors. I just pulled different colors out of the transfer and used them on my piece. Now you can do it, you could do it on any color you wanted really though. There's so many gorgeous colors in this transfer. It could go with just about anything. Probably my favorite part about it. It's versatile. Okay, and then for this little part that curves over the edge of the drawer, I'm just using my fingers. And I'm just holding it really tight and rubbing it down until the plastic starts to come up away from the transfer and leaves the transfer on the piece of furniture. And I am just going in there with my fingers. You can use the transfer tool. There's a transfer tool that they offer that you can buy. And that has smaller edges to get in the corners. You could use the edge of the stick that comes in the tube as well, but I was just used my fingernails on those little tiny portions. Yeah, and I can't believe how quick this is going. I mean, made this dresser look fantastic in a matter of 45 minutes. Probably an hour, a little over an hour once I'm done, but yes, I'll be able to post the pictures of this piece really soon. And I'll just share them on the page, so. Okay, so you can see like it wasn't all the way adhered right here, so it lifted away from the piece of furniture and kind of stuck to the plastic, and all I had to do was lay it flat and rub it a little bit again. And same with right here, that leaf doesn't want to stick down. Sometimes those little corners, just got to get in there and get them one extra time. Whoop. Jumping ahead of myself. I guess it's on there. It's one way for it to let me know. Okay, and again, you can see the little bit of a halo, and everybody always wants to know how to make that disappear, and it's just burnishing or rubbing it on there until you can see when it really sticks to the paint, the little bit of the halo just goes away. And all that is I'm thinking just a little bit of air underneath the transfer still, which you don't want anyway. So go in there and rub it really well. And it's looking really good. All right, you guys, that is what I had for today. Thank you for joining me today. And I'm gonna be finishing up the bottom really quick, and then I'll probably be able to post pictures of the finished product by, let's see, tomorrow or the next day. All right, you guys have a great day, and thank you for joining me. Bye-bye.